Alright, nerds, I just pissed myself and it's time to get through this video. Alright, so I'm painting my Dominus today. I've been very excited to do this for a bit. It's the last model I'm actually doing for my army, which is... It's really stupid, really, because I enjoyed building this one the most. It did, however, remind me of the unending experience of the Quistors, which is you paint, and you paint, and you keep painting until you got every little bit done. Oddly enough, I didn't feel this with the H.E.A.R.T.S Lancer. That one felt really quick, but it's always with these magnetized, really long and drawn out models that it just gets insane. So, what we're getting through here today is I've got 2 of these top siege breaker cannons to do. Those missiles on the top. Now I know it's not meta, but I like the way it looks. We've also got to get through the harpoon and the conflagration cannon. You have no idea how hard that word is to say. Try and say it right now. Conflagration. I don't even know if I'm saying it right. It could be conflagration or conflagration. I don't remember where the L is. It's clearly in my hands. But hey ho, we're getting through it. So the sort of vibe that I'm going for all my Imperial Knights is pink, because we like pink. We like pink in this club. And you know, you might try to come at me with your Death Guard, all stinky and snobby, but I will beat you with the Doki Doki Sparkle Shine of my beautiful Knights of Heart. And we're gonna get into that later, but actually, to be more specific about what we're doing today, we're doing the Dominus Valiant. Now, I really like the Valiant. I did before, actually. I actually hated the way the Dominus looked. In all of the pictures, I think it looks like a pile of crap. And then I started building it, and oh my god, it is just the most impressive glow up I've ever seen in my life. In real life, it looks amazing. It's just a beautiful chunky piece of kit, but in all of the photos, I think it looks like a pile of garbage. And I don't understand where that optical illusion comes from, but I guess we're gonna have to deal with that reality for a bit. Well, anyway, we're getting through to this. Dominus, it's actually now my favorite model. I like the Valiant because of the harpoon gun. I am in an Imperial Knights Discord, and they are, you know, they love the Dominus, and that's fair enough. But what they really love is telling people the coolest things that they kill with the harpoon. I think it's called the Harpoon Catch of the Day Tally, and just a core memory for me now is someone going on to the Discord and going, I must be the first person to kill Fulgrim with the harpoon. And someone was like, no, because that's what happens on their Discord. You say something and they go, no. And you know what? Fair enough. Hands off to you. You're a prick. No, I love you. But no, I must be the first person to do this. This is amazing. And they speared Fulgrim, and I'm very proud of them, and it's just very cool. A lot of the other ones aren't as impressive, just like, oh, I killed a tank, whatever. I am in this channel, Discord. Paul is bad at stuff, and someone in there told me a story about how they had a guardsman. It could have been a guardsman captain or commissar, I don't remember, but they killed old One Eye with a single plasma shot. And it's those kind of really cool cinematic moments that I think can really be farmed out of the Valiant. I really think just because it's one shot, you're putting all of your all into it, and if you get it, it hurts. And I honestly just think the Valiant is biggest funny potential. I mean, if you want to talk biggest funny potential in Imperial Knights, you'd probably be talking about the Preceptor, because I know it's shit, and listen, it needs to change, but that tiny Oath of moment, that particular, I love Oath of moment because it's a fuck you in particular for today, and the Preceptor's ability just to go, fuck you, very specifically, from the start to the end, I will hunt you down, and look, the abilities, not good. I mean, Imperial Knights already have big objective control, and if you need that ability, the number is way too high for you to even consider adding on to. But we're getting off track. Wrong Imperial Knight of the day. Today, it is the Dominus. And if we're talking color schemes, the color scheme for this one is purple base, like a purple contrast Leviathan purple on the bottom. And then for the mid-tone, I've got this limited edition release set of D&D paints for the army painter. I don't know if it's limited edition, but it's very specific to that, and I don't know what the normal paint color's name is, so I can never use that paint again. And that is what I've got for the mid-tone, and it's very special. And on the top, we've got Emperor's Children, I believe it's Leia, and it is an interesting combination. I really thought about getting some of that Fulgrim pink layered on top, just to give it a bit more brightness into it, but I'm really trying to stick with the simple color scheme of 3 colors. It's what I did for the Cerastus Lancer. It was Doomfire Magenta, Fulgrim, no, it wasn't Fulgrim, Doomfire Magenta, Emperor's Children, and then Fulgrim. And that was more blended together, but I wanted to do something similar to that, but in a different style. And that's what I ended up doing. And I don't hate it. I did hate it on my Armiger, which was a test model, and it looks like a stripy pile of garbage. I fixed it now. It's still a pile of garbage, but I think it looks better than the on fire pile of garbage that it was before. And that will do it for me. You will see throughout the video that the title on the chest will change and be redone and redrawn. I believe the beginning gets done at some point, the end, all of the letters except the L, I'm pretty sure will get a redo. That is, the name on the front there is Sultry, because all of my Imperial Knights follow this sort of code of love, because it's fun. So every big knight gets an Armiger, and they have a relationship that represents some kind of love together. Sultry and their Armiger Tender, I believe is Safe Space. I have it saved somewhere. I will not remember. But I believe this is Safe Space and Feeling Protected by Love. And just a little more information on Sultry. I mean, Sultry is piloted by Lee Spoken. There is no safer place to be than by their side. On the field, Sultry acts as a towering shield to Tender, and the silky smooth voice sending out commands over the Vox and just gentle words of comfort, being the warlord and commander of H.E.A.R.T.S, and H.E.A.R.T.S being the Imperial Knights of Cupis. See, I'm going for a very Warhammery naming system here. You know, I want to keep it consistent. I just wanted them to be this big, defending, sort of comforting presence on the battlefield. But you know, that's all lore stuff. Who cares about that? We got a giant harpoon, baby! Look at the harpoon, baby! Look at that shit right there. Now I know there's not necessarily any energy coming out of those capsules that I'm painting right now, but I do end up painting them a bright blue because I enjoy it and I think it looks cool. I didn't end up doing any blue on the flamer, though that's spoilers, but I didn't, because I just didn't. Look, I didn't think blue would have fit anywhere. It's fire, and it didn't vibe with me, and you know what, by the point that I actually get around to doing the flamer, it's like 11, and I'm just ready to be done, so I'm ready to just get it through. But we're on the harpoon right now, and I had to hit a special balance of silver on there, because obviously the base of, like, the skeleton of Sultry is lead belcher, and because it's easy, it's just easy. There's no, like, there's no rattle can for contrast. God, is it Balascarian Black? Which is my favorite, right? No, I don't know. But there's no rattle can for that, and that's what I prefer for metal. I know a lot of people use... No, Balascarium Grey. I know a lot of people use that for non-metallic metal. I think it looks like a grey pile of crap. So I prefer to use the very fancy and the very good-looking black, because I think the blue tint is actually a lot more attractive than the boring browny grey. But that is all just personal opinions. I don't care if you do that. I just think it looks good for me. So I do end up using the black on some parts here. And just through the nature of it being a contrast, I also like how it's lighter in the top and darker in the bottom. It's sort of goes from a black to a blue to a white. And I think that's just a very satisfying color pitch. Also, we've got all of this. I don't have lead belcher from Citadel Paints, but I do have hundreds of paints from the Army Painter and various other places that I don't even know, because I wanted to start mini painting for D&D, so I was just like, ma'am, give me this for Christmas. It's you paint an owl bear. That's pretty cool. Give me that, mum. And she did. Every time, every celebration, it was like, what do you want? I don't know, paint. I'll have paint. And it worked out. Now I've got so many paints. I still keep buying hundreds from the Warhammer shop every single time I go. But yeah, I don't have any lead belcher. I do. It all leaked. Like, all of the moisture leaked out of it, so now it's just thick. And I don't have any thinner. We could all use a little thinner, I think, these days. But, you know, we keep thick. So I have to go through every time all of my metallic paints, and I got to figure out which one's the darkest, because lead belcher, from the can at the very least, is quite dark. And I do myself a disservice by painting the metallic onto white. I think that definitely does give it a more silvery rather than steel look, and that's on me. The harpoon, I think, is the only place that really stands out if you look at it. I also really like to put in a lot of Nazdrag yellow in there, just to break apart break it apart from just being like this big silver block. I would do the chain gold, but I don't know. I really wanted to keep it a lot simpler and a lot closer to the box art, for no particular reason other than I don't want to be hated on. I don't want it to look stupid, and I don't think it does. I think it works quite well. It was a bloody nightmare getting magnets into that, so if you see there are some holes, please don't yell at me. I just really struggled to get the magnets in, and at some point I just gave up and started putting one magnet on the inside. And you know what? I don't even need it. It's such a tight fit onto the arm that I don't need it. It all just snuggles on by itself. But you know, I wouldn't want to rely on that the whole time. But here we are. So let's see, what are we doing right now? Yes, I've got it done. I've put it on the model, and now we're moving on to the conflagration or conflagration cannon. I don't know. It just means big, sudden, destructive fire or some crap like that. So you can see I'm already putting on the Leviathan purple, making it look all nice and tasty. It's just so easy. Actually, this might be at the point, I think... Oh, no, I did do it. I did it off camera. For the harpoon, before moving on, I completely forgot to do the mid and high tones of Fulgrim and Worm Purple, or Beholder Purple. I switch between the two because I don't remember which one I use. I try to use the darker one and I just forget. So I just find the first one, pick it up, and yeah, that's the right one. They're such a similar purple that it's difficult to discern anyway. But yes, I did that off screen because I almost completely forgot. But now we're moving on to the conflagration cannon, getting some of that beautiful Leviathan purple on there, getting the gold in those places. And I'll be honest, this is one I really wished that I didn't put together before I built it, because those 3 barrels of flamers, and oh my god, can I just say, this weapon looks amazing, is a fucking nightmare. It is an absolute nightmare to do anything with when you've got it fully painted. I should have kept those side pieces and those 3 barrels off, and I should have painted it beforehand. I think the harpoon was fine. All of the hard-to-reach places I couldn't do anything about, though I'm pretty sure all of those were already part of the design. I would have had to do it on the sprue, and I'm not insane. I'm not painting things on the sprue. But yes, this conflagration cannon, it was difficult. And while we've got some time, actually, to talk, how about I tell you a bit more about Liege Softfoken? Liege Softfoken is... Like, for these nights, I really wanted to embody that ridiculousness of the titles. I want it to be long, and I want it to get longer. Every time I kill something in-game with one of these knights, I'm gonna just add it to the title. I'm gonna make that shit longer. I want it to be a paragraph, and being the leader of the H.E.A.R.T.S, the Love Knights of Cupis, obviously got the longest title. It wasn't on purpose, but it just happened. So Liege Softfoken, Aegis of Tender, Commander of Hearts, the great indomitable fortress of Cupis. Obviously, there's a lot of big, strong bulwark coding in there. There's just an incredible, giant, massive warden really holding down the fort. In the game, I'm really hoping to make them home field objective sort of thing, and I know for that I should use a Castellan because they're long ranged, but I like the way the Valiant looks more. I think it looks better, because the ones that I really want to shove up the board are Canis Rex, and of course my Cerastus Lancer. I want that to go and fuck things up. But I shouldn't have done it, but I have, and it's the way it is, and you can cry about it. But yes, we've got the really long title. It's gonna get longer. I'm loving it. Their armature is called Tender. Tender, just a little bit of lore about them. Tender is mute, cannot speak. And they are Lady Fainheart, Silent Ranger of Sultry, and Paragonical Guardian. Paragonical Guardian because they are the guard of the warlord. You know, they are the actual close guard of the entire leader of the Love Knights of Cupis, which are sort of semi-revered, I'd say, as being the important house of the planet. They definitely have helped out quite a bit. So Lady Fainheart is definitely up there in status. Often though, Liege Softfoken does have to speak for the both of them. Obviously because Tender is mute, but there's such a close bond and sort of such a lovely safe space between them that Tender, or Lady Fainheart, really trusts Softfoken to speak for her and just to have her best intents, have all of her best interests at heart, and I think that's really sweet. And you're thinking, this isn't very grimdark. Fuck you. I want Love Knights. I want big sparkle. They come from a planet where everything might die. So it's really grimdark. No. Yeah, it's not very grimdark. It's not, but I think everywhere else, it's pretty good. So I'm gonna live with it. If you ever see my feet in frame, by the way, don't worry about it. Just don't. I'm actually wearing the exact same trousers right now. Beautiful maroon color. But anyway, yes, it's not very grim drop, but I love the relationship dynamics between them all. I've got to say, Sultry is definitely one of my favorites. The base that I've done for Sultry is also probably one of my favorites, just because I used some foam and I made some terrain. Trust me, it's a shit base. It's not good. I'm not good at bases. I don't have all the basing things, but it's the best that I could do. And I really like with these big, with the duo of Sultry and Tender. By the way, their team name together is Union. So with Team Union, I like to have this snowy sort of field, like charcoal black rocks, some gravel thrown in there. I've actually kind of ruined my gravel. I was running out of it anyway, but I've just sort of chucked the gravel in with the snow, and it looks fine. I think it's fine. It really mixes well anyway, and I think If I put anything else in snow, it'll be fine. Unless I use it for, like, Mars, which I have. I've done all the Mars ground I think I want to do anyway. And if I need some more, I'll just buy some more. But, yes. We are actually coming to the end. You see that I'm actually filling all, like, every crack I can with a nice bright red. I do go over it quite a few times. There's a lot of things that I have to keep redoing because I'm just touching it and getting all of the edges just fully back to white, which in some circumstances is fine, but I just want it to be nice and clean. And at this point in the night, I just really want this done. I really did try to have my phone flashlight on as I was videoing. Didn't work. As you can see throughout the video, sometimes the light turns on and it turns off because my phone would just heat up and immediately stop. Just like turn off the flashlight and I would be in the dark. So at some point I started using my overhead light and it just really helped me get through this. You can see that I'm getting into all of the nooks and crannies of all of this conflagration cannon. And as you can see, we're at the end and it's looking all nice and beautiful and she's ready. They're just ready for basing. And I'm very excited to have it done. I'm so proud. And now we're just flashing through all of the images that I took through this journey. There's a nice little sassy pose there. Harpoon's all done. As we go through, you'll be able to see my armature. That will be at the point that I fixed it. I didn't hate the pattern so much. I really wanted to go for a purple thermal. Wanted to keep that pink consistency. There's the base. Put some foam on it, that black charcoal-y sort of rocks underneath. There's the armature, and right here at the end, this is the finished product of Tender and Sultry. They are a beautiful pairing, and I really hope to see some great things on the field from them. And I really hope that I get to make the title of Liege Soft-Spoken so much longer. I want to be stood there at the beginning in deployment telling these names for at least 5 minutes. I want this to be the most annoying thing ever. It's gonna be beautiful. Thank you very much for watching, and I really hope that you enjoyed watching my process for my fuck-ass nights. If you did, like, subscribe, do whatever you want. Watch Paul is bad at stuff. I like him. He's funny. Bye-bye.